Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Eva's House of Spirit. For those of you who are newer to this channel, I am Eva. For those of you who are more familiar with this channel, you probably recognize that it's been a while since I've last posted, and the reason being that my life has been in a period of great transition. A lot has been going on, a lot is still going on, though things are looking up now. Things are moving to the positive, and that's something good. But I decided today I felt drawn to coming here and to posting about how to maintain one's path and practice during a time of transition. And the reason why I decided to speak on this is because I have found it difficult at times to continue forward on my journey because of all that's been going on. But now that things are going better, now that there's hope on the horizon, things are kind of coming to a point of resolution, I think now is the best time to address what I've been meaning to say. So I have found on this period of transition that I've been going through during this time that it is true what they say, that change is inevitable and growth is optional. I have found that while there are mountain times and valley times, there is always much to be learned if we only look for the lessons, if we only make time to nurture our path and practice, if we realize that just because a lot is going on and our focus has sort of been carried elsewhere doesn't mean that we can't continue forward. There is always a way. Where there is a will, as they say, there is a way. So I think overall, your focus in a time of transition, whether it be, for example, if you are moving, if you are changing jobs, if you are changing yourself, whatever the case may be, I think your focus should be on growth, healing, new beginnings, positivity overall. And that may be difficult sometimes to maintain or to continue to strive toward if things are particularly difficult. If the kind of change that you're going through, for example, is an adjustment period of grief, for example, if you're facing a transition that involves loss, it may be harder, and I understand that. But I have found that regardless if there is sadness in your path, for your own well-being, for your own best interest, it is important, despite all that you feel, despite the pain, you must continue forward. You must focus on healing. You must focus on yourself. I'm not saying you must force healing. I'm not saying you must force happiness. No. But I think what I'm trying to say is keep mindful that the greater goal is overall well-being. With that said, I'd like to say as well that a lot of times in transition, time is one of the hardest commodities to find because all that's going on pulls you away in various directions. There's so many things that need your attention. It becomes difficult to have time to practice, to study, to observe. But one of my recommendations, my first recommendation, is that you set aside small moments for practice or observance. This can be something as little as taking a few moments when you get up in the morning, maybe when you're having your morning coffee, to assess things that you are grateful for, to say a prayer, maybe, if that's something that resonates with you, or even to light a small birthday candle, to remind yourself that your ancestors, your guardians, your guides, your helpful spirits, your helpful dead are with you no matter what you're going through. Little things like this, even taking a walk in nature, observing a small moment of silence, these little things that you can do, setting aside these little moments for observance or practice, can really, I think, carry you through when things are chaotic, when things are in a state of upheaval, and it's really hard to stay spiritual, to stay connected to your higher consciousness, or to feel inspired to continue forward on your path. It's not about long periods of spell work. It's not about taking hours to, say prayers or to do it. It's not about having or needing great amounts of time. You can do a lot just by making those small moments. It doesn't have to be in the morning, as I said. It could be at night. It could be between tasks during the day. Whenever you find that you can squeeze in a small moment for one of the suggestions I made, whether it be a small prayer, a few minutes of silence, whatever happens to be, moment in nature, whatever, I do definitely recommend that. It will help you, I feel, to sort of keep yourself grounded and to keep yourself feeling guided, connected. You might be extremely busy, but there are always little moments. You can always squeeze in a little moment. Now, my second suggestion for you would be to make the effort. Again, it may require small moments, but make the effort to celebrate the positives, to celebrate the achievements, the strides that you make in your period of transition. If you're moving, you just packed 6 boxes or whatever it is, celebrate that. If you're changing yourself and you see that you have you've come so far, let's say trying to think of an example. Let's say you have tried to change a habit and you have stuck to your new way of being for so long. Celebrate that. If you are transgender and you are going through that sort of transition, there could be any number of milestones, but celebrate them, observe them as you become more yourself. This is something that you should recognize. You should celebrate whatever the transition you're going through may be. Celebrating the little achievements, celebrating the steps forward, celebrating the positives. It will help to give you a sense of, what's the words I'm looking for? I'm sorry. Sometimes it's hard for me to put feelings into words. It'll give you a sense of growth and positivity that comes out of your journey, especially if things are difficult. It's a lot of times we tend to focus on how hard things are, but this is a shifting of focus from the difficulty at hand to how far we've traversed the landscape, so to speak, how far we've come forward in becoming more ourselves or in moving toward a better future. Now, there's different ways to celebrate the positives or to observe milestones or achievements in your period of transition. You could perhaps light a candle to mark the milestone. You could take a ritual bath. You could come together with a friend or a loved one to celebrate in some way, whether it's to have a drink or to have a meal, whatever it happens to be. The most important thing, even if it's just you doing something nice for yourself, the most important thing is that you're marking these special moments because they matter. These are steps forward in the journey, on the journey of your life. Now, that aside, if the transition that you're going through happens to be a move of residence, sometimes it's really difficult to observe your path and practice because all your things are packed up. But it's important to remember that you don't need tools, you don't need items to practice. You've heard this a million times from a million different people, and it is so true. There are different ways to observe your beliefs, to practice what it is that you do. You can commune with nature. Go outside somewhere in a beautiful natural setting and take time to be with the energies of the universe, of the world, of the earth. Take time to feel connected, to ground. Maybe you can say some prayers there, or you can just feel the great sense of peace. For divination, if let's say all your tarot decks or your rune sets or whatever it is that you normally use, let's say they're packed up and you want to do some divination, but everything's packed up in preparation to the move, try scrying. You can look into any number of things to scry. Boiling water on a stove, the clouds in the sky, the flames of a fire, the wood grain in a wall or a piece of flooring, or perhaps if you're outside you can look at the bark on a tree. You will see symbols, pictures in the things that you scry into, and they will sort of speak to you. They will give you feelings and thus impressions. They will sort of like tell you a story in a sense. This is a good way to divine if you have all your things packed up because you're preparing for a move. Another suggestion that I have, meditations and visualizations, they don't require anything, and they're something that you can do on a regular basis if you are in the transition of a move. Also, where it comes to candles, buy a pack of birthday candles. Again, they burn quickly. It gives you the ability to do candle work, but in little moments, because you're probably going to be extremely busy between everything going on. Even something as simple as journaling can be something spiritual for you. Prayer, there's so many little things you can do without actually having your tools that are ways to practice despite all that's going on. Another suggestion I have for you in regard to maintaining your well-being in order to continue on with your path and practice as things are in a state of upheaval or in a state of change, great change, is seek out supportive community. Seek out others who are of like mind. If you don't have friends or family that you can turn to, sometimes that happens, you can seek out Facebook groups. You can seek out YouTube channels, pagan blogs or radio shows. The most important thing is to find somewhere or someone, a source of other people, even if it is a virtual source, a source that offers you a sense of community and support while you're going through what it is that you're going through. I personally found that Facebook and even watching YouTube has been extremely helpful in giving me a sense of community. Thank God for the internet. I do have family and friends that I maintain a connection with that help me as I'm going through my period of life transition, as things are changing. But, depending upon your situation, your source of supportive community may be different from the one that I turned to. So I do definitely say seek out others that will support you and that will be of like mind, or that will be positive. The key word here is positive. You need some person or people that are totally on your side. You need those cheerleaders. Social support matters very much. It can be very isolating to feel like you're going through some craziness in your life alone. It can be very depressing, very challenging when you don't have anyone to turn to. Talking to someone or even listening to someone that has things to say that really feed your soul and inspire your mind can help you a great deal. And finally, overall, I have to say that the greatest thing I can suggest is to remember that the most important thing is your health and, sorry, I'm reading notes here and I'm stumbling over my words. The most important thing is your health and well-being of mind, body, and spirit. Focus on maintaining positive and productive resonance. And what I mean by that is your energy, your focus should be positive and productive. It may be very difficult, again, if you're going through a transition that involves loss or grief or extreme, ill luck or whatever. But in this case, maintaining positive and productive resonance might involve throwing yourself into tasks, work, going to work, focusing on, maybe getting things done or doing your job, whatever it is, to kind of shift your focus away from the sadness and into something that will help you forward, that will aid you in other ways, sometimes temporarily, that can guide you through. Not to say you should completely ignore how you feel, that is not what I'm trying to say, but keeping busy really can help. But overall, I'm trying to say that focusing on the future, the good things to come, focusing on positivity and productivity, these are ways that you can help to fortify your mental, spiritual, physical well-being. Really, the key here is that you are your own best friend when it comes to moving through a period of transition. Other people can help you, but you cannot afford to be your own worst enemy. Sometimes this is easier said than done, but it can be done. Don't assume, however, that I'm trying to say that in my own period of transition in life, all the things that have been changing, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's been a happy journey for me and that I've always been happy-go-lucky. There were some really difficult nights. There were some tears shed. There were times when I grew angry, or I felt a sense of things are not fair. But now that I've moved beyond some of the greater hardships, now that I have come to a place where my period of transition is nearly resolved, and for the better, I can say that it is important that you keep your eye on the prize. Sometimes it's even little things that keep you focused. In my case, one of the greatest things, honestly, that kept me moving forward and focused on doing what I needed to do to be well, to carry on in a productive and positive way, believe it or not, was Nixie, my little black cat. Because all along, I thought to myself, failure is not an option. As I move forward and I take care of business, so to speak, it's one thing if I fail. I can get on. I can take care of myself. But what will happen to her? That's one thing that I thought to myself. What will happen to her? And feeling that sense of guardianship over her, feeling that sense that she needs me. No matter what happens, she needs me. That helped me to keep myself grounded and to keep myself moving forward, not just in a spiritual sense, but in an overall sense, as things were very difficult. Now, things are a little crazy, but things are not as difficult as they were in the beginning. But overall, I think this is probably the extent of my advice on maintaining your path and practice in a period of change. Life is full of change. Life is always going to throw changes at you. There are some among us who really dislike change, but you know what? Change is a fact of life. You can't avoid it. Nothing and no one is static. Nothing and no one lasts forever. But as I said in the beginning of this video, what I have found to be true, as they say, change is inevitable, growth is optional. Sorry, there was a bug flying in front of my face. If we embrace the challenge of change with the right approach, with the right focus, we will get through periods of transition I hesitate to say much better. Perhaps, in a sense, more efficiently. We will utilize the hardships. We will utilize the chaos of what's going on to contribute further to our healing and well-being, rather than sitting in a heap and crying, woe is me, and doing nothing to progress forward and letting ourselves fall further away from what it is that spiritually nurtures us. I believe as well, and you may disagree with me, but I believe as well that everything happens for a reason, as it should. There are times in my life where there have been disappointments and losses and things that were extremely painful, things that I did not understand, things that I had a very difficult time adjusting to. But I will assure you, here on the other side of those things, I see that it is true what I believe, for me anyway. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and if those losses, if those disappointments did not occur, if those moments of pain did not happen, I would not be here in this better place in life. And you can liken that to childbirth. Childbirth comes with pain, but from that period of pain comes great blessings. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope this has given you some food for thought. I hope this has given you some ideas on how to traverse a period of transition while maintaining your spirituality and well-being, your magical practice, your path, whatever. And I think at this point, I'm going to wish you all blessed be and Ashe. You have a great day. And until our next exchange, until next time, you all stay awesome. And bye-bye for now.